I'm joined now for some one-on-one by Fox Sports soccer analyst Alexi Lalas. Those were some comments I had yesterday. I want to get a little deeper into the conversation with you. First, I want you to react to what I said yesterday.
You're not telling me anything I don't know, or certainly anything that the soccer culture and community doesn't know. You recognize that this is a very big country, and making sure that everybody has the chance to play it, just from a practical standpoint, will help you get better. However, I don't think that it necessarily can be used as an excuse why we aren't successful. It doesn't mean that a kid growing up in the suburbs can't be as good as Messi. I completely recognize that there is that drive that comes from wanting something that you don't have. So how do you go about doing what you're suggesting? Well, there's a lot of people for a number of years that have tried to do it, and there are obstacles, just like in anything in the United States, that are in your way. Number one, you need to make it attractive to kids growing up. And how does that happen? Well, in other sports, it's the money, it's the bling, it's all those other things.
I want to get there, but
Okay.
I want, because one, Lexi, I don't think people understand soccer as well as they need to understand why I'm making the argument that I'm making. And this is where, and I understand you're an athlete, you're a no excuses person. But sometimes it's reasons why. And what I don't think, and I think you can speak to, soccer is so much more difficult than the average American understands. Soccer
As a game, you mean?
As a game, yes. Fatigue and failure are the two common things that are pervasive in soccer. You fail at soccer during a 90-minute game over and over and over again. You sprint downfield, your heart gets pumping, nothing happens. You're running back on defense. You get all excited, blah, blah, blah. For 90 minutes back and forth. Fatigue makes cowards of people. And that's when I start seeing the people from the lower classes that deal with adversity every day, they eat adversity every day coming up, when they make it to that great stage of soccer, the Ronaldos who came from pain, they can handle the fatigue and failure that happens over and over and over again in soccer. Soccer is one of the toughest sports in the world to play.
So it's tougher than other sports?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay. And a kid from the suburbs growing up who goes to a nice school and has maybe some parents that can pay for it.
Never missed a meal.
Never missed a meal, is less liable to have success in soccer because of that upbringing?
Yeah, listen, yes, I believe that. When I played football, I played with guys that came from more intense pain than me. And I would watch them show up at practice day after day after day and give 100% that I didn't have to give because I never missed a meal.
I will agree to you that having all of those, for lack of a better word, type of young players doing that could have long-term benefits. But I can only tell you that I have grown up and I have played with players the way that you are describing, and players the way that we started out talking about. And one of the things that you are that you want to have change is having it just be this suburban type of middle-class type of sport. And I have found that they can have the exact same drive to win, regardless of that upbringing.
Why are so many of the great players from around the world, not just Ronaldo, they're in these other countries, that Argentina team that ran through us, they look tougher than us. We played dirty with them, in my opinion. We took them out every chance we could. They didn't care because they suffer every day, and it's part of their culture. They have a different level of toughness than our players
And you equate it to their upbringing and the hardships that they have endured from a young age, and the need and the drive to help themselves, help their family
100%.
is on display in the way that they play. All right, I mean, that's, look, like I said, this type of argument is something that we have talked about for years. And absolutely, I would love nothing more than all of those kids that now go to football, go to baseball, go to other sports, had soccer as a part of their sports landscape. And in order to do that, you have to make it attractive to them at an early age. And a lot of that attractiveness comes from, hey, this is a way out. And what is a way out? Money. And it's changing. People can look at MLS and people can look at making more money, but certainly it's not necessarily always on par with the other sports.
You played internationally. I think you see it even in the stands. When I look over in Europe and I see the fans ready to kill each other and the fights in the stands, there's a passion within the fans and within the culture that we just can't match. The people in our stands at the MLS games, they're wondering where their next glass of wine is coming from. The people over in Europe, they're killing each other. In the stands, they're fighting with each other in the stands. There's a different level. We have to inject that level of passion into our game, or we're not going to catch up.
I agree with you. Not all, but I agree with some of it.
All right, Listen, Eric Winaldo on this network
I know him
really went after Jurgen Klinnsman. That was one of the worst managed soccer games in our history that I've ever witnessed, at least. Do you buy that?
I'd have to go back and look at games where I felt that we fell short or failed. Do I buy that? Not necessarily. I think that this was a culmination of a lot of things that have happened. So I guess, because what he's doing is basically, without saying, who's the manager? Well, the manager is the coach. And I know Eric will say, well, no, I'm talking about the players on the field managing the game and doing all of that. But ultimately, it comes down to a tweet like this and a comment like this is about the coach. This was, without a doubt, and we're talking about the Argentina game.
Yep.
This was a disappointment because it was a wasted opportunity. The reason why we're talking about this today, the reason why you guys have been talking about this is because soccer every once in a while pokes its head above and everybody focuses in. And a lot of people that watched that game the other day, maybe the last time they watched the U.S. men's national team play was against Belgium back in the World Cup when Tim Howard had that incredible Superman performance. And we get these opportunities and we can't waste them. And we wasted them because Jurgen Klinnsman and his team went on there and they didn't even lose well. All right, there's no shame in losing to Argentina, but for me, there is a shame in the way that they lost to Argentina because a lot of people that, like you said, don't know a whole lot about this team now have this perception that I think is warped because I think they're better than they showed on this day. And that has to fall on somebody. It falls on the players on the field, undoubtedly. There's some realities, not having players available because of suspension. And of course, you have to look at Jurgen Klinnsman. Why weren't those players at least prepared to put up a fight? Because there is a history of the United States, even against very, very good teams, at least putting up a fight.
What do you say to someone like me? And again, I'm no soccer expert. My first jobs as a sports writer were covering Indiana University soccer, so I'm a little bit familiar. But I don't see it as a disappointment. I saw that game as a dose of reality that America needs, and now maybe we'll get out of this delusional bubble that we can compete with these elite teams when we just have more work to do before we can consistently compete with the great teams.
Agree that we have much more work to do and that we are not necessarily on par with an Argentina. But I disagree with you when you make the assessment, and I think I saw both you and Colin talk about how Jurgen Klinnsman should be commended because he's just telling us maybe what we don't want to hear and being honest in the way that he is actually assessing us with regards to where we are. I think, and there is a history, as I've said before, of the U.S. team doing well and playing well, not necessarily always winning, but at least at the end of the game playing well against some very, very good teams. And that was not on display here. Yes, we need to do better, but this was disappointing. And I refuse to say, well, it's just good enough to be here, and this is all house money and all that. No, and that's why I said that the United States was not the underdog the other day. While Argentina may be the favorite, the United States, in my mind, wasn't the... I know, that's okay.
You're the great athlete. You know the
sport. Stop doing that. Stop doing that.
But it's the truth.
But your opinion is as valid as mine.
I'm an experienced journalist, and what I'm afraid of, when I watched the broadcast and I saw the three Americans pick us to win, I was like, no, man, don't lie to us.
Well, wait, you think I picked it because I'm American? You think I picked it out of some sort of patriotism?
If you looked at the roster, how are you picking us?
So, wait a second. So if, let's see. If Gordie Howe had picked the United States Olympic team in 1980 to beat Russia, you would have said, oh, you're being such a homer.
Yes.
That's just sort of patriotism.
Yes.
And then when it happened, what would you have said?
It would have been great, an underdog, overachieving. Listen, it's like the people that picked Ronda Rousey to beat Holly Holm. Holly Holm knocked her out. Okay. It happens. Upsets happen. People pick Mike Tyson to beat Buster Douglas. Buster Douglas, it happens.
But this isn't just something out of the realm of possibility, okay?
I'm not saying
the United States has beaten Colombia in a World Cup. The United States has beaten Brazil in a Gold Cup. The United States has beaten Spain in a Confederations Cup. The United States has beaten Portugal in a World Cup. They were a handball away of going to the semifinals.
And the United States got its butt kicked by Argentina.
Yep.
And it should open their eyes.
And that's why it's disappointing, because we should be
work
better than that on the day. And I don't think that you believe that we should, and we disagree with that. That's okay.
We got work to do. Thank you, Alexi.
Hey, that we do agree on. We have work to do.